Good morning, guys. It's Tuesday, August 25th. Welcome to Powwow. I'm your host, Mr. Moore. Let's go to Mr. Bryant's enrichment class so he can tell us why we're here this morning.
Guys, what are we here for?
Because we are preparing outstanding warriors with wisdom to overcome and win.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Powwow. This is your host, Mr. Moore, and I'm joined by
Tolu.
And we're here to do this morning's birthdays. These are the birthdays from today up through next Monday.
So the first birthday is Daniel Romero, followed by Nathan Ivy, Jamila Franklin, and Angel Reyes.
We also have our Faxon Nabuto, Emma Richardson, Isabella Schroeder, and Jackson McKenzie. So if you have them in your enrichment, ask them when their birthday is. If they want to tell you, they can. Either way, go ahead and wish them a happy birthday. Next up, we have Halima and Hannah with the accolade draw.
Hey, I'm Halima.
And I'm Hannah, and here's the accolades.
Yay! Let's see. We have Mason Nelson for helping other students.
And then next we have Jesse Powell for helping Mr. Davis.
And last but not least, we have a Faxon Nabuto picking up chips even though he did not spill them.
Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. Now for the student spotlight.
So we have our Student Athlete of the Week and our Student Spotlight. So last week I mentioned Madison Seals, who had several diving digs during the volleyball game, and she had several dramatic plays that was a big factor in them winning the first set and ultimately leading to an overall win for the game a couple of weeks ago. So I apologize that her clip did not get put in last week's presentation, so we're going to show you that in a couple of moments. For our Student Spotlight, we have 3 students who represent faithfully using the online ticket system to help get attendance for online learners: Sophia Rogers, Samantha Richardson, and Fuentes. So these are just 3 students who represent several that have been doing that. Next up, after Madison's clip, we have our Teacher Speaker of the Week, who's actually our athletic director, Coach De La Cruz.
Hey guys, hey, this is Coach Cruz, and I'm from the future. And if you're watching this, there's still time. I got a couple of things to share with you. I know I look the same age. I'm from the year 2040 though, so I'm actually older than I am now. Sorry that people are looking for me. I'm not supposed to be here. This is a silo. Anyways, I stole this from a lookalike. Doesn't look as good as me, but he's a lookalike. Anyways, if you're watching this, you made it. There's still time. There's no masks here. Oh, I gotta go. Hey guys, this is Coach Cruz. It's a crazy day. Some dude that looked a lot like me stole my phone because he said his iPhone wasn't working. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But anyways, I got my phone back. I chased him down. So anyways, I'm trying to do my powwow. So if you're watching this, it's Tuesday. I don't know what time, because I don't really know what time powwow is, like 10 or 11 or something like that. But I'm going to talk to you today about me a little bit. Wrote a couple little notes, not a lot. If I look this way, I apologize. It just feels like it's natural, even though the camera's over here. So, oh yeah, Mr. Moore, you don't need to edit the music because I put the song on in the background that I want. Let me lower it though, it's kind of loud. So you don't even put music on. All right, so I want to start off with a quote, which will have, you know, the overall theme of what I'm going to talk about today. So the quote says, whenever two ways lie before us, one of which is easy and the other hard, one of which requires no exertion while the other calls for resolution and endurance, happy are those who choose the mountain path and scorn the thought of resting in the valley. These are the men and women who are destined in the end to conquer and succeed. So I'm going to talk about, I guess, endurance, perseverance, you know, overcoming, things like that. So I'm going to read a couple of little quotes, whether it's off of a poem or a song that I've liked over the years or things like that. You know, see, and then I'll kind of share some stuff about me a little bit, and then we'll go from there. Also, don't know how long this is supposed to be, so if it's too long, I apologize. If the video's too short, then I apologize. So anyways, all right, so the first quote is, failure gave me strength, my pain was my motivation. So for me, growing up, I think, sorry, this music's distracting me now. So for me, what that means is, you know, I failed at a lot of things in my life, and I had a lot of pain growing up. The first memories I have is when I was about 4 years old, and when I was 4, the first thing I remember, I have a couple of vague memories of my grandpa, my dad's dad, being on like had tubes in his nose and stuff, and he had like lung cancer and stuff like that because he smoked for so long, and he was an alcoholic and all this kind of stuff. Well, anyways, when I was 4, I remember my grandpa's funeral. I remember him dying, you know, be on his deathbed. I remember seeing him on his deathbed. I remember seeing his feet. I know it's kind of weird, but and then I remember sometime later being at his funeral and seeing my dad, you know, crying and kind of just, you know, sad, obviously. And I remember being at the casket, and my dad looked at me and said, you know, can't you see this is my dad? Kind of like, hey man, you know, you don't understand. Why don't you understand? So he had pain there. So anyways, when I was 4, when my grandpa died, that's when my dad started to drink, became an alcoholic. Kind of was no longer in my life from that point forward. Prior to that, you know, he'd be around, from what I've seen in pictures, things like that. Did a lot of stuff with my family, and, you know, had a lot of get-togethers or whatever. But at that point, you know, because of that and I think other things, he started drinking a lot. And there's a lot of times where my dad would come home drunk, and I would be the only one awake, and I would hold the trash can for him while he's throwing up. I'd have to go clean up in the kitchen. He'd make some food and stuff, and I'd have to turn off the stove and things like that because he'd leave it on in the middle of the night, where our house would have burned down if he wouldn't have. But anyways, moving along. So when I was sorry, I don't have enough time to get into each thing so much, so I'm trying to figure out how much I should share before I move on to the next thing. But the next quote is, sleepwalking most of my life. It's off of a song, and the song, you know, says, you know, I was sleepwalking most of my life. So when I think of that, I think of autopilot, and you can ask my wife, but I was an autopilot for a lot of my life, you know, even when I met her at times, but for multiple reasons. But it started when I was 7. When I was 7, without getting graphic, I was molested, and by someone in my neighborhood. And there was this huge tree in my front yard, and then like on the side there was like this little, like, I don't know how to explain it, like a kind of like a shed type thing that you could work on. And anyways, yeah, that happened, and it happened for a while. And I think when you're that age, anyone who's ever experienced anything remotely like that knows that there's a lot of different things that come with that. But imagine being 7, not having a father around, the guy that's supposed to protect you, and not knowing how to deal with the things you're feeling and thinking and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of it was tough. 7 was tough. And I have pictures on my refrigerator, my mom's refrigerator, where I was 7, and I look at those pictures and I get sad usually when I see them, because I'm like, man, if I could I could go back at this age to 7-year-old me, you know, I would protect you. I'd help you. So anyways, so at that point, the next quote is, it was easier to let myself forget. I've been less than half myself for more than half my life. And then wake up. So for me, that was definitely true. So that kind of started things from when I was 4. You know, that was like Satan knocking on the door saying, "Hey, I'm coming." When I was 7, he showed up full-fledged, and then from that point forward, he was like, "Man, well, my job is done. This guy's destroyed from here on out." So, you know, it was easier to let myself forget. So obviously I had a lot of repressed memories. I honestly, I think I still do. I think there's a lot of things other stuff that's happened in my life that I just kind of black out. You know, when I was younger, I didn't want to feel, because I had so much pain and sadness in my life. And then I didn't know how to deal with it. So there was times where I tried to kill myself. And that's a whole nother testimony right there. But, you know, God protected me from that. And then there was times where I got involved in bad stuff, whether it was drugs or alcohol or violence, or being involved with bad people. Basically anything you can think of, you can name it. I was filled with rage, you know, so it was kind of like a whirlwind. And there's years of my life that are like gaps. Like I literally can't remember certain years, like at all, like anything about them. They're just gone. And I think that was to protect myself. But anyways, then the next quote is something that I would constantly ask myself: how do I forgive myself for losing so much time? Because at that age, you think you have all the time in the world. You know, you think you have all the time in the world to get right, to do better, to forgive, to move on, to do things that make you successful, all that kind of stuff. You think you have all the time in the world, you're invincible. I remember one time I jumped off of my neighbor's roof onto a trampoline, and my neighbor jumped right after me, and he was like huge. So when he jumped, I landed on my neck when I jumped off the roof, and when he landed on the trampoline, I was just bouncing up and down, and my neck was like, you know, it was terrible. And like, look, if I did that now, I'd be dead or paralyzed. But back then, I did it, you know, and I just, you know, we were just acting like we were wrestlers in the WWE or something. But anyways, so how do I forgive myself for losing so much time? And I think that answer to that question is living now. You know, like I said, I don't have enough time to really get in details with everything. If you ever want to talk, I'll definitely share more. But a lot of the things that happened to me in my life, most of it was self-inflicted. For me to forgive myself, you know, is a big deal. But I think the most important thing is that the time that I have now is making the most of it. So for me, you know, every morning that I wake up, I thank God that I'm alive, from the bottom of my heart. And I genuinely thank Him, because I know I shouldn't be here. It's only by the grace of God that I am. And then the next thing is I make sure to be present. I'm a very aware person, very observant. I'm very cognizant of the people around me, and you know, I'll make mistakes, but I try my hardest to pay attention, to show my family, my friends, you know, the students and the athletes that I teach and that I coach, to be there, to know like I'm present. You know, I'm not distracted anymore. I'm awake. I'm not sleepwalking anymore. I'm awake. I'm on this earth. I feel again. I feel compassion. I feel the things in my life that I need to feel, and I deal with them and handle them accordingly. Not immaturely, not in a ridiculous way, not in a rage-filled way. There's a lot of things in the world right now that can make you angry, that will make you angry. Whether you were 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, whatever age you are, there's going to be things in this world that you're not going to agree with, that's going to make you mad. You're going to want to argue with people, fight with people. you'll have your temptations, you'll have the things that want to sway you left or right. When you really got to keep pushing ahead, keep going, keep persevering, having that endurance. For any of you that run cross country or track, endurance, or even in any sport, even basketball, anything, endurance is being able to do all this stuff, and then when things get hard and they get tired, you can still keep going, you can still keep pushing, you can still keep playing that sport or running until the race is over. This quarantine, I actually ran about 70 miles, and I've never done that in my life, probably at all. Anyways, but what I started to really appreciate about running is the mental side of it, where you're running and you're thinking to yourself, man, I'm tired, man, I feel like coughing some stuff up, or man, I'm thirsty, or my legs hurt, or there's a pain in my left heel, or my lower back hurts. There's all these things going through your mind, and then you push past that, you get past that, and you keep going, and you just and then all of a sudden there's like this moment, this like breakthrough, where you're like, man, I can do this, I can keep running. It feels good. And when you're done, you're like, man, that was great. If you have a headache, it feels like your headache's gone, like you feel like you did something with your life that day. So it's great. I've really appreciated running lately. So last things I'll say, based off of what I said about the time, thinking you have all the time in the world, there's a couple people in my life that I want to talk about real briefly. Hopefully this isn't goes over time too long, but there's a couple people that I know personally, or knew personally, that thought they had all the time in the world, and then there's different things that happen in their lives that proved otherwise. First one is Aaron Compton. He's one of my best friends, and I remember I don't remember the day, to be honest, but there was a day where I was gonna text all these people to come play soccer, and I did, and we were gonna play soccer at this park here in my town, and his name's the first one on my phone contacts because it starts with A, and I saw it, and he mainly plays basketball, but he had said if he'd play soccer sometime for conditioning if I ever asked him. And I remember that day I thought about asking him, and I didn't. And anyways, that next morning I found out he killed himself. And Aaron had just bought a new house. He custom made the house, just got a new Mustang of the year, whatever year that was, and had a daughter, just had another daughter that was just born like a month prior, just got married, had the whole world in front of him. He had all the time in the world, and then just like that, he didn't. So I know it's hard to persevere sometimes. It's really hard. So Cody Hunt, she did hair. She was a hairstylist. I remember that day before, she had just got a new hairstyle. She had a kid, beautiful little girl. I just got a new salon, and then she killed herself, and had the whole world in front of her, had all the time in the world, and then she didn't. Luis Zuniga, I was like born and raised with this kid, went to church together, grew up playing all kinds of games and together and all that kind of stuff, and that one was a tough one. I was actually at the school at the Pioneer campus when I got the call from my mom, and that one rocked me. He was young. He was younger than me, and he came home from work, was taking a nap, and then I think he had like sleep apnea, and he started like choking in his sleep, and anyways, he ended up dying from like a stroke, and then not being able to breathe and all this, and he had all the time in the world. That week that he died, he had just bought a ring for his fiance, who was another good friend of mine. They'd been together for years, and he finally was going to propose, had the ring, and died before he got to propose. She still wears that ring to this day. He had all the time in the world, but now he doesn't. Yasmin Caillou. She was 22 when she passed away. She went to a hookah bar, had posted something on social media about something about smiling and just whatever, having a great day or something. Well, she felt sick to her stomach, told somebody, told them again, passed out. When she passed out, she hit her head on the floor. No one gave her resuscitation, so she ended up being brain dead. Died at the age of 22 with 3 kids and left a husband behind, and a lot of sisters and a brother or 2. She had the whole world in front of her, all the time in the world, and then she didn't. Joel Ramirez, my best friend, helped me get through high school. One of the ones that, you know, we did all the bad stuff together. We would club together for years. You know, we did all kinds of stuff together. We fought together. We did everything together. We even have a picture together at prom, and our suits were like huge and stuff. It's kind of funny. I'll probably never show you guys that. But anyways, he went to the military, the Army. I remember specifically telling him, no, don't do it, for different reasons. But he just had a little girl. Anyways, he died by a bomb in Iraq or Afghanistan. I'm not sure which one. They went over one bomb, his unit, and then the vehicle kept rolling, went over a second bomb, and that's when he died. That one was tough. They all were tough, but that one, to this day, it was September 13th. So every September 13th, I always deal with that, and I always will. But he was young. He had a daughter. He had a fiance. You know, he had the whole world in front of him, and he had all the time in the world. And then the last one is Pops. His name's Juan Flores. He recently had triple bypass surgery. He was a little bit older. We called him Pop. Everybody called him Pops because he always used to take care of us when we were out getting drunk and doing stupid stuff. He would pick us up. He would take care of us. He would make sure we were all fine. We were good. He'd give us money if we needed it, food if we needed it, all that kind of stuff. So we always called him Pops. Good guy. And actually, Coach T lived when she was still in college, and you know, she had a couple of roommates. Pops actually moved in next door to her, so she ended up getting to know Pops and meet Pops and his wife and all that. So we continued to hang out with them throughout the years. And this last year, last time I saw him was in February when we went to the state championship basketball game, because I remember asking him to come, and he said he'd try and all that. And he had just recently started going to church, and that was awesome. That was great. You know, he gave his life to God, and he just recently passed away. He ended up getting COVID-19, and you know, because of all of his underlying health issues, he ended up not surviving that. So, you know, that was kind of surreal. Anyways, what I'm trying to say, guys, is that tomorrow isn't promised to us. Today is. So when I talked about forgiving myself for all the times that I had lost, all the time that I had lost with my family, with my friends, with my wife, I was just walking like a robot, just going through life like not even there. Years of my life I couldn't remember because I blacked out, because it wasn't me. It wasn't me during those times. The things that I did, the stuff that I do, like if I told you guys, some of y'all be like, whoa, really, Coach Cruz, you were in a gang? You did what? You did this, you did that? You wouldn't believe half the things that I've seen, that I've done, the kind of person that I was. And I'm so far away from that person, because I realized that time is so precious, and you got to make the most of it. And you know, I know you guys, maybe this is the first time in your life this year when you started to recognize how mortal we are. Like when Kobe Bryant died, you're like, man, like out of all the, like if it would have been like an older player like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like you'd be shocked, but it's not as surprising because he's older. But like Kobe looked like he'd live forever, you know, like you just don't, it just doesn't make sense, you know. all the stuff happening in the world with, you know, the social unrest and all just everything going on, and then the pandemic, and then, you know, just recognizing how fragile life is. Like, I think maybe this might be some of y'all's first time of recognizing, like, man, we can die at any moment. And if that's true, what happens when we die? And you got to figure that out for yourself. You got to figure out, what do I believe in? Is heaven and hell real? And if it is, well, what does that mean for me? You know, what about right now? What's my purpose? You know, what's my passion? How do I turn my pain into passion? You know, how do I turn my failures into strength? You know, how does my pain become my motivation? You know, what am I called to do? What am I supposed to do? I'll tell you right now, the reason I drive an hour to work every day is because of you guys and you girls and you athletes. And I know for a fact that I'm walking in my purpose. I'm doing what I was called to do, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's definitely not for the money. It's definitely not for the fame. It's definitely not for any of those things. But, you know, to have the chance to impact your lives in any way, to help you get to college, to help you recognize there's more to life than just TikTok, which I know it just got banned, I'm sorry. And, you know, guys or girls, or, you know, arguing with people over social media about what they should or shouldn't believe. And if they don't agree with you, then you're a terrible person and you're out of my life. Like, there's so much more to life than that. You know, check yourself, think about your heart, think about others, you know, be kind, be gentle, be patient. We won't be here forever. I won't be here forever. And that dude that stole my phone earlier, he said something about, you know, time, and you still have time, and something like that. I don't know, he was crazy. But he said something like that, and I think he was onto something. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this because I know I was way over the time, so I apologize, Mr. Tinkleberg. And if someone is asleep next to you, give them a little shoulder. No, wait, you can't, because you're supposed to be 6 feet apart. You see that? You guys aren't social distancing if you can elbow your partner right there. So, all right, make sure you do that. Wear your mask. I want to get through this school year. I want to have sports seasons. We're gonna win state in multiple sports. I just know it. We just got to hang on. We got to persevere. So I'm gonna end with the same quote I started with, and I'm gonna end it a little bit different. So pay attention. Whenever two ways lie before us, one of which is easy and the other is hard. When you listen through this powwow, you see times where I could have took the easy way out. I could have took the easy, and some ways are hard. It's not always easy. One of which requires no exertion, while the other calls for resolution and endurance. While I was running those miles, I could have stopped. I could have stopped. I could have just said, you know what, that pain in my leg is too much. My lungs aren't taking this well. But I kept going until I reached my destination. Happy are those who choose the mountain path and scorn the thought of resting in the valley. These are the men and women who are destined in the end to conquer and succeed, or in your case, in our case, to overcome and win. Thank you guys for listening. Coach Cruz here. Take care. I love all you guys. Well, most of you guys. I'm just kidding. Bye.
Thank you, Coach Dela Cruz. Now on to our next segment. I'm Renee Lynn.
And I'm Jocelyn.
And this is the Newman News.
So today we have a JV volleyball and a varsity volleyball game home, and we have a JV soccer and varsity soccer game home as well. Also on Thursday, there's a varsity volleyball game at Nazarene and a varsity soccer game at Niche.
And then we'll cut to Esther and Oreo with the live action take of See You at the Pole Wednesday at 7:30.
Hi, I'm Esther.
And I'm Oreo.
And we're inviting you 7:30 Wednesday morning to come join us
at See You at the Pole. See You at the Pole is a day where staff and students come to pray over their nation and their school. Prayer is like a way to communicate with God because you're not yet in heaven, so you can't face to face. And so prayer is like a telephone line, and just while you're speaking to God, prayer is a better way to be with God and to strengthen your love with Him. So we invite you Wednesday morning at 7:30 to come with us. See you then.
Progress reports also go out this Thursday.
And we have early dismissal again this Friday at 1 p.m. for parent-teacher conferences.
We have fast food night for both online and in person on Monday, September 28th at 6:30.
And don't forget, Picture Day is on Wednesday, September 30th, 9 to 12 for in-person people and 1 to 4 for both online and senior photos.
And quarter exam week is October 5th. And now we're gonna cut to Renee Lynn for our school song.
May God bless our school as we march to our tomorrows and stand